stories where we tell behind the scenes stories of the fire department and people that work in the fire department.
Behind the scene.
My name is Bob, and I got my teeth in here now. And this is Doug, and we have Brian with us, telling us a few tales. So Doug's going to start us off today with a great tale. It's sort of a wet one, but
It is a little on the wet side, Bobby.
yeah.
I was just on the job. I hadn't been on very long, and it's window cleaning day. And now the windows have to be cleaned in the fire hall. This is the downtown station. And the basement windows have what they call a window well. So the windows are below the ground level. So they, instead of having no windows, they have a window well. And they would cut garbage and stuff that blow in there.
It was deep, right? I mean, you could you stand in it, you could barely touch the top.
Yeah, if you could even.
Yeah.
You get about 10 feet high.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I go down the ladder. I put the ladder down. I go down, and one of the guys that was down there had been there for a long time. He says to me, he says, "Here, I'll pull the ladder up." I said, "What are you gonna do?" So I'll just pull the ladder up. He says, "It's easier to clean the window wells.
Sweep it up.
Sweep them up and that." And I said, "Well, all right, I guess so." Of course, I hadn't been on the job very long, so I'm pretty naive. He takes the ladder, and now I feel pretty vulnerable. I'm down in this pit, can't get out, and he comes around the corner with an inch and a half. And he filled that well up with water. It was up to almost my chest. And when he finally shut it off, and I'm looking inside the basement window.
You wait to float up out of it.
I was thinking, I'll just swim out of it. Anyways, yeah, he got me pretty good. Then everybody thought that was pretty funny.
No, yeah, I bet you especially when you're in there and they're just spraying you down.
Oh, jeez, I couldn't get out. I couldn't do anything. I was done. He
You know,
had me.
The watch office in that station was downstairs, and the living quarters were all upstairs. But the private phone was in a little room right beside the watch office, and in the watch office, just to the right of the watchman, it had a window about that big, so that you could reach through and answer the phone, and that sort of was at central for a lot of the things that happened. I remember one time what would happen was you'd call in, or somebody wants Doug, you'd get on the PA system and say, "Doug, private phone."
So you go in that watch office or in that little phone booth, close the door, and then the guys outside go take it. There was a Chiefs car parked just outside.
That's where it was stationed, yeah.
And they would take a 2x4 and shove it down between the tires and the door.
Wait, Doug, you'd arrange that. We can just do that. That's just sort of no planning. You'd make sure that you had exactly the right when you backed that car in, right? You'd measure it.
Oh yeah. Well, you couldn't get out. Now you're pinned in there. They come in with that inch and a half through that little opening that they answer the phone, and they okay, to give it to me, you might as well sit back and take it.
Put these stuffed towels on the door, right? And the whole thing would just start to fill right up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They good sense of humor.
But but they had everybody got caught in that thing at least once.
Oh yeah.
But they had a PA system, because it would come in and you'd call the guys and they'd slide down the pole and go to the phone and take their call. Well, one day the PA system broke, and I thought, holy geez, so basically when somebody called, what you had to do is you had to walk way across the fire station. It was a big station, and down to the one pole hole where the guys were above there, and you got to holler up and try to get somebody's attention. And they'd come down and you'd say, "Telephone for Doug," and then Doug would come down, right? And meanwhile, the business phone in the watch office is ringing off the hook while you're gone, right? So, but this went on for like 1 week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and we did an entire rotation, and every month we'd work 4 days in a row. And this was the second 4 days that we had worked that this thing wasn't working, and I was on watch. So the next day, so I said, I'm going to figure out how to fix this. So I got a bunch of high hooks, and I got some fishing line, and I got jingle bells, a bunch of bells on a line, like on a leather strap, right? And I just started from the watch office, and I started feeding this line up the wall and across the apparatus floor. Like this thing's what, 18 feet high, maybe.
Yep. Oh yeah.
The ceiling, like diagonally, like across the top of 2 or 3 trucks, and then it got to where it went up the pole hole, and I put another one there, and I was going to throw it up. And then attach the bells up top, right? So, and then we had a little chart.
Where'd you find time to do all this work?
I did this all before coffee, and the chart was if it was for Doug it'd be 1 pole, and if it's for it'd be 2 poles, right? So we had that pasted up on top. But as I'm doing this, I just get to the final bit, and I'm on this tall ladder, right? It's tall step ladder up there. And I'm really engaged in what I'm doing on the ceiling. And I look down, and there with his hands in his pocket, looking up at me at the base of the ladder is the fire chief, Ray Morley. I said, "Hey, Chief, how you doing?" He says, "Fine." He says, "What are you doing, Bob?" I said, "Well, Chief," I says, we haven't had a PA system for about 6 weeks here." And I said, I thought that, it's pretty tough for us to get the private messages out, messages to the top. So we're just doing this as a code." And I told him, and he laughed and laughed and laughed, right? I thought, oh, am I in shit or not? But luckily he was a big shit disturber when he was a firefighter.
Sure, yeah.
He was a big practical joker. So that was our, and it worked actually. You get the phone and you go, ding. Where it stopped working was when you had
Well, that's my
somebody with,
ring. I better take it.
yeah, there were 17 guys, so it's pretty tough to.
Was that 12 or 13?
Yeah.
Geez, hang on a second. They'll do it again.
Yeah, around about that same time, I was working there, and there was chores that you would do on a daily basis, and some were on a weekly basis, and they had the list of chores in case you weren't busy. You'd go to the list. What am I supposed to do when I'm not busy? So Saturdays was polish the brass.
I always, yeah.
And they had just installed this cabinet around the main pole so that people didn't accidentally step in the hole and fall through.
Yeah, imagine that when we started. It was just like a hole in the floor with a pole
Just
through it.
right in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, with a pole through it.
So I'm in the booth, and usually the drivers would work from ladders down on the main floor to polish that half, and then the firefighters would be up top polishing the top half.
Yeah.
I'm in there doing that, and I could tell that you guys were talking about me because you kept looking over at me and laughing, but I couldn't hear what was going on.
You start to get nervous, Brian?
I was getting nervous. I came out, and
And
Doug
should
said, "Yeah, we got a job for you to do." And I said, "Oh, okay, what's that?" And he said, "I want you to go count the linen." Now, the linen wasn't a Saturday job. The linen was like a Wednesday job or something. So I thought that was odd that it didn't fit the calendar. But I'm not going to question that. And the senior guy comes and tells me to count the linen. Well, then you followed me into the linen closet. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm standing there counting the linen. And you said, it's pretty dark in there. I said, well, I can see fine. There's lights out. It's just a closet, right?
Yeah.
He says, turn on the light
Wait
and
a
do the
second.
job
Wait a
properly.
second. This is a closet that went up, what, 12 feet?
12 feet, yeah.
At least, and it had shelves all the way up on either side, and it had one light bulb
Light bulb with a
hanging
string.
down from
With
the
a
ceiling,
string.
with a string on it, right?
So these guys had rigged this light bulb. They put a board up there, and I'm sure
Hockey stick.
it was a hockey stick. Okay, and you wrap the string around it a couple of
We
times.
put a margarine tub on it.
Yes,
Right.
full of water.
And screwed it down onto it, and then put just a little cut in the top of the margarine, and you tied a knot, and you tied that to the string that you pulled so that when you pulled it, it would pull it and it would flip over on you, right?
Which you did. And I'm sitting there thinking, gee, Doug, I mean, why are you even standing here looking over my
I didn't
shoulder?
want to miss it.
I'm not going to screw this up. I just count the number of sheets and put it on a piece of paper, right? All right. And pull the water right down on top of myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you always had to keep your wits about you on the fire department. That's
Do you
for sure.
remember Tom? Timmons. He used to go and we'd have a visitor in the hall. So it was a code that you'd say the watch officer would say on the radio there was a visitor in the hall, whether it was male or female, so you'd know how to conduct yourself.
If it was a girl, it would be man on roof.
Anyways,
That was the code.
the visitor would come upstairs and go into the hall, and Tom would go out into the window. And outside, the window, it was open, and there was a
Canopy over where
yeah,
the trucks went out, maybe 4 or 5 feet.
4 or 5 feet down. And he said, "I can't take it anymore. I can't take it." And the people would be like, "Oh my God!" And he would jump, and it looked like he fell.
Head first out the window. Second story.
But all he did was fall onto this canopy 4 feet down. He'd be crouched. People would run over and look out, and like that.
Yeah, the best thing to do when there's somebody in there, you just go.
I see nothing.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah, he's just doing that again. It's okay. Well, we had a good one today, guys. I really enjoyed telling the stories. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as we enjoyed telling them. If you like us, press the like button, and if you'd like us to come to your place every Friday, press the follow button, because we post every Friday, and this will automatically just deliver it right to your door, let you know that we've posted. So until then, be safe, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.